The story starts with Macbeth and Banquo fighting against the Norwegian army. They cut the army down to size, but the remaining soldiers run away. They ride their horses back from the battle, planning to tell King Duncan about their amazing victory. While returning from their battle, they run into a group of witches. They tell Macbeth that he will be Thane of Cawdor and someday king. They also tell Banquo that he will be Father of Kings. When they arrive back to the camp, they tell King Duncan about their amazing victory, and King Duncan tells Macbeth that he has promoted him to Thane of Cawdor. Macbeth is overjoyed and also a little confused in how the witch's prophecy became true, but nonetheless he invites Banquo and King Duncan over for a feast. Macbeth rides his horse back to his castle after sending Lady Macbeth a note on that he's being promoted to Thane of Cawdor, and that he saw some strange witches who told him he would someday be king. Macbeth walks up to his room, hoping that Lady Macbeth is up there waiting for him. He greets Lady Macbeth with a warm smile, and they talk about the witches that he has seen. Lady Macbeth is a bit confused, just as Macbeth was, and she tells Macbeth that if he wishes to become king, he'll have to kill King Duncan and both of his sons, since he is no relation to the royal family. King Duncan arrives at the castle, and Macbeth and Lady Macbeth go down to greet him. Banquo also arrives at the castle, and they all go into the dining room to have a massive feast. Once finished with the feast, they all go upstairs into their rooms. One of Macbeth's guards go to guard King Duncan while he sleeps. Once in their room, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth discuss. Lady Macbeth tells Macbeth that it is the perfect time to kill King Duncan. Macbeth tries to refuse, but Lady Macbeth tells him otherwise. Macbeth sneaks into King Duncan's room and goes to do the deed. He sneaks up to King Duncan's bed, holds out his blade, and prepares to strike. Once the deed is done, he sneaks out of King Duncan's room, past the guard. Once back in his room, Macbeth tells Lady Macbeth the deed is done. Lady Macbeth sees that he still has his sword in hand and takes it from him. She goes out of the room and sneaks up to the guard. She gives the guard the blade and returns back to her room. After this, Macduff appears and starts banging on the gates. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth start to panic, but Lady Macbeth tells Macbeth they will have to put on a big show and act like nothing has happened. They greet Macduff with warm smiles and welcome him into their home. Macduff thanks them for welcoming him into their home and asks to see the king. He follows Lady Macbeth upstairs into the king's room. Macduff enters King Duncan's room and finds out that he has been murdered. Lady Macbeth also enters King Duncan's room and acts all shocked. Macduff wakes up the guard that was guarding King Duncan's room and sees that he has the blade that killed him. He executes the guard. King Duncan's sons, Malcolm and Donalbain, think that whoever killed their father is going to kill them next, so they decide to leave the castle. Macbeth is crowned the new king since King Duncan is dead and both of his heirs have run away. Though something is still going on in King Macbeth's mind that Banquo's son will be king. So he hires a hitman to go kill Banquo and his son. The hitman leaves the castle after getting his payment and goes off to find Banquo and his son. While Banquo and his son are out hunting, the hitman is preparing to strike. After a while, the hitman finally reveals himself and goes up to kill Banquo, but Banquo's son gets away. While Macbeth is fighting his last battle against Macduff, he is on a killing spree and kills nearly half of Macduff's army, but Macduff goes in for the kill and ends up killing Macbeth. After Macbeth's death, Malcolm gets crowned King of Scotland.